All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, double honors to Apostle Elders in New York, GMS, and salutations to y'all around the world that's teaching truth. My name is Maya Ka'ala Nagab, with the Chicago branch of Great Millstone. And I'd like to make a disclaimer that we are not black Hebrew Israelites. All right, we are Hebrew Israelites, or Israelites. All right, descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right. Our skin is brown. All right, not black. All right, and in verse you got the other people, Esau. It was a spiritual manifestation of Satan on earth. All right, Esau, Edomites are the what people call today Caucasian. They mistakenly called in the past white. They're not white. Nobody's white like paper, white like cotton. And also the Edomite skin are translucent, and their flesh and blood shows through, which give off the color red. All right, Edom, Adawam. Correctly say Adawam in the ancient tongue. All right, which is Hebrew. Okay, and we are not affiliated with any black identity in string groups. All right, so I got a lot of comments on my on my video proving that the so-called Mexican tribe of Issachar are Israelites, and also the so-called Seminole Indians are Israelites. So the comments, come on my page talking about they not Israelites and this and that, in other comments, man. You got some comments, people, the evidence right in their face, which I don't count the idiots to accept it. This true basically for the elect, the 144,000 Israel and the 1/3 of Israel. Thus who there's basically all these videos and teachings on the street for it, man. But hey, you gotta warn Israel, man, get the bullet off your hand, like it said in Ezekiel chapter 3. So a lot of feelings was hurt that I proved that the so-called Mexican Israelites going to the Bible. They went to slavery. They went to they was shipped across the world. All right, they live in the ghettos. They gang bang. So on, man. They certain curses, man. So today I'm gonna focus on their neighbor, the Maya. All right, Zebulon. All right, and the Maya, they in some parts of Mexico, Loma, it's sort of like so. A lot if I pronounce this wrong. It's is it Campeche, Mexico, or Campeche, Mexico? Either one of them. Then it's like from Guatemala all the way down to Costa Rica. All right, so that'll be the tribe of Zebulon on this side of the world. All right, you have to remember Israel scattered as is scattered around the world, man. According to Deuteronomy 4:27. All right, so yes, the people of the West Hemisphere are called Maya, they are Zebulon, but you also had Zebulon in Nigeria, okay, and other places they may be. Like we always stated, just because on the 12 tribes sign don't mean you're not an Israelite. All right, the 12 tribes sign basically telling you who's who in the Western Hemisphere. All right, in the Western Hemisphere. Okay, so the word Maya means Maya means springs. Well, springs water in Hebrew. All right, so a little marker proving they the Israelites, because you had like a scoffer. Yeah, I forgot that guy got his channel, but he's a dumb guy. You all know he said that the tribe of Gad is God. I don't know how he got that, man, but he come from the God tribe. God's our Israelites in Ghana. Cause we come from. Um, you know. So, but anyway, man. All right. So this focus on the indigenous people from Guatemala all the way to Costa Rica. With this particular domain, this is Maya, the Zebulonites. All right, in Guatemala. All right, so-called Guatemalans. All right, so-called Indians of Guatemala. All right, the indigenous people of Guatemala. All right, and who they are Israelites. You go right here, Deuteronomy 28. Go right here. Deuteronomy 28, 45, 46. It says, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of Yahweh thy power, to keep his commandments and statutes which he command thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign of one upon thy seed forever. Right. So the curses shall be upon the seed of Jacob to identify them as Israelites, man, because it definitely don't fit anybody outside the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. In this instant, this you're talking about the so-called Latinos. Basically so-called Native Americans. The natives of the Americas. So you let's go. What's one of the what's one of the curses? You go to now. This is the book, the Maya diaspora. All right. It says what Israel should be scattered. What diaspora means somebody scattered. All right. So it's the Maya diaspora, Guatemala Rooms, New American Lives, edited by James Luque and Marilyn M. Morris. All right. Okay. So let's go to page 25. All right, in this book. Was it page 25? Salak, page 16. I was thinking about the other book I have. All right, so right here it says, hope y'all can see that. All right, so it says Maya. Hope y'all can see that. It said Maya slaves perform a variety of function for Spaniards, but the most common were those are agricultural labor, household servants, and gold miner. And on the lands Santiago and Alamalanga, the first permanent colonial capital, Spaniards had their slaves produce foodstuffs, especially wheat for the households and for sale in the urban market. All right, so there you go. What is go to Deuteronomy 28 and 30. It said, "Thou shalt this right here. Hope you all can see that. Hope it ain't too fuzzy. It says, "Thou shalt." Damn, I'm trying to get this focus. Salak. It says, "Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build a house, and thou shalt not dwell in. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and thou shalt not gather the grapes thereof." So it's the same thing, man. Okay. All right. So right here it says, all right. It says, all right. In the vicinity of San Diego and Alamonga, and the successor as colonial capital, San Diego de Guatemala, some 3,000 to 5,000 slaves lived and worked on Spanish estates called milpas, and in their master's urban household. 16th century sources indicate that slaves in question came from all over Guatemala, even as far away as damn, I pronounced that Oaxaca. All right, talking about Mexico. When President Alonso President Alonso Lopez de Cerreto liberated slaves around 1550, the great majority having grown accustomed living in their adopted lands for almost a generation, never returned home. It said once emancipated, their lives of these ex-slaves seldom improved, for they soon found themselves subjected to the demands of servile ordinero. All right, so it's the same thing like similar to damn, what is that called, Jake? I can't think of that name. Damn, forgive me. Damn, I forgot that called. Where Jake have to work that land and god damn, I just lost a train of thought. Well, the same thing happened to the Jakes up here in North America. You know, tribal Jews, so-called Negroes, after they got out to slavery. You know, Esau made a deal with them to work on the land, and then they was so-called pay them or some shit. Esau basically screw them around and stuff, and they had to constantly work on Esau land. You know, I forgot the term of, but you all know what I'm talking about. All right, but all right, it says some of the Pedro de Alvarado slaves was settled around Santiago after their master died in 1541. They were actually liberated by Bishop Maragran before Cerreto arrived, but until they had a much more grueling life. All right, so it's just like ancient Egypt, man. Esther chapter 1. All right, the ancient Egyptians made grueling life, a regular life for the Israelites. All right, then all right, made them regular servants, you know, regular slavery. Then they did a milk household counterpart their fate that the other captives mined to pan for gold for their Spanish master in the mountain parts of Guatemala, and especially in more than rich Honduras. Relatives known about this episode would span 1525 to 1544, but there are indications that those sent out Honduras were for 8 months at a time. The ship of work was known as the Mora and lasted from early October until early June. This coincided the perennial dry season in Guatemala. The mortality among the luckless folk who spent the Mora in Honduras must have been very high indeed, but this not called the Spanish master much, where alone the slaves were cheap and their lot and their supply still plentiful. See that? All right, so that's just one of the curses, man. It says what? It says Deuteronomy 28:50. It says a nation of fierce countenance which should not regard the person of the old, no soul favor to the young. All right, so you know they ain't give a damn, man. They ain't give a damn about the tribe of Zebulon, the Mayas, dying. All right. It says it's one of the curses, man. Then found them seriously. They said, but this did not call their Spanish masters much worry as long as slaves were cheap and their supplies still plentiful. We suspect that some of the survivors of those annual migrations settled after emancipation, small pueblos, Milton barrios cluster around Santiago. See, they in the damn ghetto. All right, they in the ghettos, man. It said other slaves and gold places of mine within Guatemala may not have to leave or travel so far, but levels of hardship they suffered was compared to those that migrated into Honduras. Thanks to a detailed document dating from the mid-1530s, we know relatively about a quadrilla or gang of slaves from Huehuetenango. All right, for a lot of I pronounced that wrong. Unlike the slave gangs in Honduras, those working around the capital would be thrown together to form a heterogeneous mix. The slaves at Huehuetenango held there or from nearby centers. Somebody write in the comment, I pronounced that the name correctly. All right, you know, the water. But it said the place reminded they were forced to carry out was thus within a day or two by foot of their homes while they work was atrocious. These slaves did not have to suffer severe changes in the attitude of travel on desert. They survived. They were likely able to remain in or close by the native communities after emancipation. All right, it said all slaves, even the second generation slaves born into status, were eventually freed, but large number of slaves from Guatemala and considerably from Nigeria and Honduras ended up far removed from their places of origin. It says some were dragged off with their Spanish master who, dissatisfied with the limited economic opportunities of Guatemala, sought to make their fortunes in Mexico, Panama, or the conquest exploitation of Inca Peru. It says right here, all right, it said other slaves were sold for profit by their owners and exported to distant parts. All right, so right here, it said, well, it says right here, we'll get this right here. All right, it says, get this. Yep, get this. This says what? Get this right here. I can get this camera focus. Alright, so it said Deuteronomy 28 and 68. It said, Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again by ships, and by the way of Asmekah thou shalt not see it no more again. Thou shalt be sold. Alright, so the key word is what? Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again by ships. Alright, so how did Maya get to other parts? By ships. What did Egypt double fold? It means Egypt, land bondage. Alright. Mizraim means double straits. Okay. Alright, it's double. Also talking about America. Alright. It said, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. Thou shalt be sold unto your enemies. I mean, the Most High should give us up to the enemies. And thou shalt see it no more again. It's a whole nation. We shall see Israel. It's a whole nation, man. It's simultaneously the same time. Sold to enemies, for bondmen and bondwife. Most High gave us up to our enemies, Esau and the rest of the nations, and we end up on the slave auction block for bondmen, slave man. No man shall buy. Nobody should save us, man. All right. Then what it said. I'm gonna show you right here on page 25. You know, you scoffing like, oh, they end up in America. Yes, they did. All right. Like I said, it's double folded, man. All right, so this is the book, the British Honduras to Police Transformation of a Nation. All right, bad Godfrey. I'm not pronouncing that name. Mawakaja. All right, but anyway, it says somebody write a comment. I pronounced that last name correctly, but it says page 25. Right here, it says the British Buccaneers and Pirate also attacked the Maya along the coast of Belize. They raided and destroyed most of the Maya settlements along the coast. They also stole food, enslaved the Maya, and kidnapped the Maya women and children. No, it says right here, Deuteronomy 28 and 32, thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people. Thy eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all day long, and there shall be no might in thy hand. All right. Then you go to Deuteronomy 20:30, says, what? Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall like, well, what you think happened to the women? What you think happened to the Maya women? The Zebulonite women, man. All right. Esau slept with them. All right. It says right here, it says, some Mayans were even sold as slaves to the British plantation owners in Jamaica. Some were also sold to slave masters in the southern states of United States. It said what? Some were also sold to the slave masters in the southern states of the United States, especially North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. It says the region was a land of service for non-whites. I mean, not Edomites, but for Israelites. The region was a land of suffering for non-whites, which are the Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American, but also the prosperity for settlers from Europe. All right, but right here, this is important. It says what? Some Mayans were even sold as slaves to British plantation owners and settlers in Jamaica. Some were also sold to slave masters in southern states of the United States, especially North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. All right, so what it says right here, it says what? Deuteronomy 28, verse 68, it says, and Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. So yes, the Zebulonites, all right, or what people call the Maya, all right, they are Israelites according to the Bible. All right, no if and no buts. All right, and then you go right here to Deuteronomy 28 verse 64. It says, "When your house shall scatter among all people from one end of the earth even to the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods which neither thou nor fathers had known, even wood and stone," man. All right, because they also carry them out to Spain. He said, whatever the Spanish slave masters go, that's where they go. That's where they went, man. All right, they even came to the Americas. Fitting the prophecy of Deuteronomy 28, man. So, hey, the Maya are Israelites, the indigenous people of Central America. All right, and parts of Mexico are Israelites. The Maya are Israelites. The Maya are Israelites. All right, Shalom.